Hey everyone, this is fourth week of May 22 and we are starting with the cybersecurity updates. So there is a new malware attack reported by researchers and it's targeting Russian government entities. And essentially what it does, it's a RAT, remote access Trojan, and it started when the war started in Feb 2022. Okay. The researchers have claimed that this is Chinese-led, although they're not there's no high confidence in their surety. Okay. So in cybersecurity industry, we whenever we attribute, we give high, medium, low kind of confidence, and this is a low confidence kind of attribution to threat actors. Now, how this attack works, it has multiple campaigns or ways to get into the infrastructure. So the first thing that they've been doing around Feb is they sent emails under the guise of interactive map of Ukraine. So the email contained an executable file, and if someone opens, there is a RAT that gets deployed on the system. It doesn't do any damage, it's just collecting information, as well as it allows the cyber criminal or the actor behind this campaign to control the system. There were other campaigns also or other methods. They also distributed the custom malware in a tar file called patchlog4j, which is a fake fix for the log4j vulnerability that was reported earlier in December. And then there was a Word document floating around which contained a fake job advertisement for strategy and growth analyst for a company called Saudi Aramco. All these are lures, right? Actors often do that, and specifically in this campaign, this has been there for almost 2 months, and the same malware got deployed, and the malware had very little difference in the source code. Okay, so this is Russia versus Ukraine doing cyber attacks, doing kinetic attacks, and then there is another party which is trying to understand what's happening in the Russian infrastructure. Okay, and we have seen various instances of that previously. Also, in US, FBI has reported that around 36,000 email and passwords from various academic institutes in the country, they are available for sale on dark web forums, and these forums are frequented by cyber criminals. And some of you might recall that for last several months, there have been multiple attacks on schools and colleges, including ransomware. Okay, and we reported some of these reports. Attacks also. Now, remember, you might not find this serious, but what happens is, if somebody gets credentials of a person, it can be used to hack further, do extortion, create fake identities, etc. Multiple ways to either monetize it or use it for conducting a crime. Okay. Also, in India, Spicejet, a low-cost carrier, they got hit with a ransomware. Their services were down for several hours, and there was a bit of panic among the citizens. Now, hypothetically, if this happens on multiple airlines, it can be very bad for any country, right? So, as industry, as businesses, we have to ensure that we carry out basic cybersecurity hygiene and ensure that all employees are aware of cybersecurity issues and they do take their cybersecurity awareness trainings. I'm not saying they did not, this airline did not do anything. I'm saying there could be multiple ways, and we have to be ready as much as we can. So that was that. And then Microsoft has reported high severity vulnerabilities in a mobile framework. Now, to give you background, mobile frameworks are often used by mobile service providers, often mobile manufacturers, to embed their own content in the mobile devices. And I'm sure you have seen, if you have taken an Android phone, Apple doesn't allow that, but an Android phone allows you to have your mobile framework. So typically these mobile providers will put their ads, their custom applications, custom branding, etc. And in this case, this particular framework is used for self-diagnostic mechanism in case there are device issues. Okay. Now, this app typically is pre-installed, or this framework is pre-installed by the phone providers, but it's also available on Google Play stores. Okay. Now, this framework itself had vulnerabilities. Although this was found in September, it is also fixed right now. But this framework has been downloaded on millions of devices. Okay, which means hackers can potentially exploit them and take control of a device to do various malicious activities. Also, a browser automation framework, which is created by a company called Bablosoft, is now used by hackers for malicious activities. So another refresher on browser automation studio is or platforms is they allow automation of certain repetitive things, like in this case creation of bots, credential checkers, etc. But remember, they are an automation software, so they can be used by genuine developers or they can be used by malicious developers. So cyber criminals in this case. So it's been reported that cyber criminals are using this automation framework by for doing malicious activity. So a use case that was reported is identifying if the stolen Google credential is valid or not, using a code for Gmail account checker. Okay. Now the way it was identified is by looking into the traffic that's going to the Bablosoft website, and there are malware stealers like Bumblebee, Blackguard, and Redline stealer. They are trying to communicate to the Bablosoft websites and getting content. So which means attackers are automating using the same frameworks, right? So this is nothing unique. In last few years, what I've noticed is attackers used to build their custom malware and for everything, or custom code for everything. But what they are doing now is they are, for initial access, they might use a custom script or custom method, custom software, but once they are in, they are trying to use whatever is available on the system, like a Windows native tool or a Linux native tool, so that it's not caught by the cybersecurity software. Okay. And again, they are also using automation and AI. Also, web skimmers. Now, web skimmers are a category of tools that capture the payment information of users. So let's say you go on an e-commerce website, you buy something. The job of a web skimmer is to copy your payment information, your username, passwords, your debit, credit card numbers. Now this is not new. So an actor that goes by the name MageCard, and they've been doing it for a long time. And in this time, what has been reported is these actors are publishing scripts mimicking Google Analytics and Metapixel code. Now, Metapixel is used for visitor count, and it's provided by Facebook. So they are the actors are posting fake scripts which are malicious in nature, and if a developer copies that code and publishes it on their website, they are essentially contributing to the stealing. So be careful on what you are deploying as a developer. Be careful if you are on a website that's insecure, and ask right questions to your businesses. Okay. Also, in US, more announcements on the government side from cybersecurity. So there is a new cyber leader in the Navy as well as in Air Force, and there is a Cyber Command deputy also. Great. So President Biden is getting very active on the digital war side. Okay, I think that's something all the nations should copy, because IT is very important for every country today. Also, there's a cartel called Infraud. One of their members was sentenced for 4 years in federal prison. So this Infraud cartel has stolen over 4 million credit and debit card numbers, and it has costed its victims $568 million approximately. Okay. So at one time, this group used to have 10,000 members worldwide, and it's been active for more than 7 years, right? And as they get caught, the cyber criminals get disassociated, or and sometimes they form their own groups in specific countries. And this group was across US, Europe, Asia, and so they've been very coordinated. Okay. Also, Interpol captured a alleged ledger of Nigerian email fraud. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. So email fraud is typically about sending a email, luring the victim to carry out some activity which leads to him either compromising his system or giving money out as a payment. Okay, so this group has been very active for years, and now in this time, Interpol has been conducting operations against them, and their leader has been finally arrested. So it's good news. Okay, and in US, India, Japan, and Australia, they formed an alliance called Quad. They have announced initiatives on cybersecurity, which is great. But when the Quad nations met, they were talking about COVID-19, global health, infra, climate, cybersecurity, and emerging in tech like 5G. So this is great, right? We always have heard about things like economy and climate, etc. But cybersecurity is the need of the hour, and hence everybody is forming alliances to share information, share intelligence, and I think most of these countries are worried about the intrusion from China-based hackers and or China-linked hackers. Last month, Indian officials accused China of attempting to hack 7 power grids in north of India. Okay. Also, one of my favorite reports, Verizon DBR, is out. It's called Data Breach and Report. I've been reading it every year. This year, there are more partners. So not only Verizon, but 87 other partners have contributed to this report. And what this report does is it highlights the summary of investigations that they've done in the previous year. So last 12 months coverage, they give a breakup of incident type, details, industries, and some things they have highlighted is one is criminals. One dominant motivation in 2022 is financial gain, followed by cyber espionage. Everything else has lower category. So 93% of the breaches that they analyzed were financially motivated, 6% were for espionage, rest were random. Now, this is something that we've been noting. Most of the incidents that I talk about will typically fall in this category. Okay, when I started my career, there were most common incidents were kids running scripts found on internet and trying to change the content of the website, call it, we call it web defacement, but I think the world has shifted towards financial gain. Okay, we are in that phase now where it's espionage or financial gains. Okay. With that, I'm thankful to all my sources. You guys help us to learn a lot and keep learning. I'll see you next time.